Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Scale Gap podcast. It's been a very long time, but we're here, and you know what? It was worth the wait because now we definitely know what we're talking about when it comes to FIFA 22. And before we get into it, it's been a while for him too. Persian, how's it going?
Good man, good. It's been a very long time to be fair, like a very long time.
Why
That's
have we postponed this
yeah.
much?
I mean, it's kind of hard to motivate yourself to do these podcasts when the game is in the state that it is, but I don't know. I think we've just been slacking. It's kind of on us. Like there's no real excuse here.
True. And I guess that's a bit of a prelude as to where we're going because contrary to popular belief, and honestly, it's not even popular belief, I'm exaggerating. Contrary to some belief, this game is not that great. So let's just jump into that premise, and I guess we want to start with what we think about the game. So just before we get into the actual details, attacking, passing, whatever, do you like this game more or less than FIFA 21?
That is a very loaded question. Okay, so the problem is, since day one that we played this game, the first thing I do when I like pick up a controller and I play a first FIFA is I want to see the feel of the game, right? Like how does dribbling feel? Just left stick dribbling is the first thing that the most important thing to me. And if we compare that from 21 to 22, that was a shock to me because specifically because we went to next gen too, right? We played next gen first and it was just heavy. Like the game just felt if you come from that game, it just feels very heavy. Like the left stick was felt very heavy to me. So just based off that, I didn't know. I was like, this is not gonna be good. This is not gonna feel good. And I couldn't really like what did it feel like to you, like the left stick?
Here's the thing. I should have started with this as well. For anyone listening, if you're not like hardcore, there's basically two FIFA 22s. There's next gen version and then there's old gen. So PS5 v PS4, right? So I played both versions, and on PS5, it's a whole other ball game of just awful experience for me, in my opinion, because like you said, the left stick feeling is awful, and it's not an enjoyable experience. It feels really shit. Old gen compared to next gen feels a lot better, but of course compared to FIFA 21, it's a whole other ball game.
Like the thing is, you can say a lot of things about FIFA 21. Mostly that it's just a terrible overall game, right? FIFA 21 was a terrible game. But what you can say is FIFA 21 has significantly better left stick dribbling than FIFA 22. And I think there's a couple things that are fundamentals in a video game that should like work well, or in a football game mostly. It's dribbling, it's passing, and what else? What else is really mostly those two. Those two are pretty much the most important thing, and obviously defending and all those things come with it, but those go hand in hand with passing. Um, but I think these two things, well, mostly just the dribbling, when the dribbling feels that off to me, it's really off-putting and it really makes it hard for me to want to play a game when everything just feels heavy. The best way I could describe it when I came like now I'm kind of used to it, right? But when had to switch from 21 to 22, it just felt like I was in constant delay. Like it just felt like I was like playing underwater because the game was so slow and it got so like I don't know. Every player just felt heavy to me, and it just didn't feel good. I didn't like the feel of it. That's the
Yeah.
best way I can describe it.
Yeah, and of course, for anyone listening, this is also an account. We take it into account because there's always going to be that one guy. We're taking into account that with FIFA 21, we were playing with team of the season players. We know that, right? Like it's fine.
Yep.
We're taking that into account. What I will say though is this that while it's true that it gets worse, that's not to say that FIFA 21 had good left stick. Because even at the start of
Yeah.
that, we are like, oh,
Yeah.
here we
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
like every
Yeah.
year it's a bit weirder. It's the gap between the best players and the worst players gets even bigger. When you're playing with like a budget team, so to speak, it's just an awful experience, and you're just begging, please, can we have Messi? Can we have Neymar already? Whereas once upon a time, if you had a Martial, you were like, okay, we can make this work a little bit. But breaking it down, what do you, is there anything that you would say I like this aspect of FIFA 22? Because in FIFA 21, a lot of people were like, oh, at least finishing is good.
Oh dear. If we're gonna go, what do I like about FIFA 22? Gameplay wise, I can't really think of a lot of things to be honest. Like, do you know something? Like, I could say if I agree or not, but
Yeah, I know.
because I have no idea. Like, I genuinely cannot think of one thing in gameplay. Oh yeah, yeah, the sprint boost thing. The
Yeah,
fact that, yeah, the fact that pace matters less, so you like 83 or 84 pace players feel fast. Like they've made Messi has like 85 pace, but because of the, what is it called?
explosive sprint.
Yeah, the explosive sprint thing. That's the only thing I really like about this game. Like they made those types of players usable now, which is a good thing, which is a great thing actually.
Yeah, and some people always say, "Oh, you were never wrong." Oh, I was wrong about the explosive sprint. But in fairness, I was wrong about the explosive sprint because I judge new features that they advertise purely for the reason of making a video when they announce like trailers and gameplay pitch notes. So everything I always say ahead of like a game is take it with a grain of salt, that I'm just trying to make a video for the sake of the video because everyone else is also making it a video. And it's August. I need a video, and why not talk about the new game? So at the time when they announced it, I thought, "Oh no, this is gonna be bad." And no, it's great. It's really good. And Messi with 85 pace to me feels like the fastest player, just because in the short, that's for me the most important point. Obviously, he's not the fastest if you put him through a net, but like on the ball, if you want to get like 2 meters to go, he's great. Other things I really like are oh no, here it is. There are some instances where you can cut a passing lane a lot better, but like last year and the year before, I guess the overall balance of passing is nowhere near fixed because while some things improve, other gets worse, and a lot of the
Yes.
same things remain. So, some things have gotten better. Typically, it's hard to describe with audio only, but there were certain situations where typically 4-4-2 players would do a one-time pass from like the left mid into a central player into the striker. Those are easier to intercept now, but there's a whole other thing for passing that it's not enough. I like the L1 triangle passes, the lob through passes being better because they need to be better in some cases. But there's also the other side of the coin is that they're also broken beyond belief in other cases. So for some reason, they couldn't make them work when they make sense without the absolutely broken ones. And other than that, what else do I like, man? I can't remember. I can't really think of much else.
That
I'm sure I added in videos. Yeah.
that's like you said it. That's the problem. There's no balance, right? Because like there, like certain passes in FIFA, like in FIFA 21, you couldn't play those passes at all, right? Like the chip through
Yeah.
balls.
There's no way.
There was no way to do them, and now that there's a way to do them, it's absolutely broken. It's pretty much the only thing you see now. Like playing a pass, like we were playing co-op yesterday, and we were trying to just play a normal through ball, and we just, well, obviously we just realized, like, we knew this already, but like our football IQ makes us think like this is a normal through ball, right? And then we just teach ourselves, okay, no, wait, this is not when you do a normal through ball, you just need to chip it every time. So like that's the problem. Everything, there's no balance. There's no, okay, we can do and this and that. You can let your creative mind flow and do the things that make sense, right? No, it's like, okay, now the chip through ball is OP. Now that's all you do. That's the only way you play, you know? And
Yeah.
that's my problem with how FIFA, like how the meta in FIFA develops. Like it's all just one thing. Just everyone just plays the one style of football. And obviously you can still score normal goals, but if you want the easiest goals, that's just that. That's all Elite Division is. Like it's all chip through balls.
Yeah, that's the problem. You hit the nail on the head there, right? Because you play, if you play a very good shooter, you go in and you're like, all right, focus on angles, positioning, audio cues, and in a fight, dip in and out. Look where he's aiming, then like use cover. Like these are certain fundamentals you can base your game off of. Whereas a reason why I also get super burnt out with FIFA is for what you said. Like it's never the balance. It's always you go in and it's like, oh, look at that. Now we have to do this 10 times. People are doing every
Exactly.
corner glitch. Every corner, everyone does the same exact damn routine. I'm like, brother, like how are you not bored of this? Are you not shamed? Like you are shameless. You have
Yeah.
no shame. Every corner you do the same corner glitch. And it's just like, bro, congrats, you found a trick that works and it's broken.
People just work towards cheap goals. Like they don't want to like this is the problem I had like recently. Remember when you said basically you made a video and you said, okay, I don't like FIFA 22 or I'm quitting next gen or something
Yeah.
like that, right? You said you don't want to quit, you don't want to play next gen. People had the nerve to say to you, well, that's because you probably, well, obviously they were people that didn't watch your content, because if they did, they knew like they're literally talking out of their ass. But basically they were saying like you're basing your opinion on the fact that you probably can't do broken skill moves anymore, or you can't break the mechanics anymore. And I'm like, if there's anyone you can't say this to, it's just someone like you that literally went through all these FIFAs just playing his own style and still performing well, right? This is not like, this is my problem with a lot of people. Like the criticism that we have isn't because we're losing. We're winning. It's not about winning. That's not the problem. Like my enjoyment in FIFA doesn't revolve around me winning anymore. Like it never did. But like now, like it's even worse because like these games are easy as hell. Like it's not like it's a difficult game. It's very easy to master. Like anyone really, if you train them in doing the right things in FIFA, can be a good caliber player to an extent, right? But
Yeah.
that's the thing with people. Like they misjudge it and they say like this is real football. This is like we can finally play real football. You could always play real football. You just chose not to. Like you chose to play the meta. You chose to play the through balls. You chose to do the croqueta spams. Like and people are saying that it wasn't possible. And you I think you tweeted that something like that, right?
Yeah, it really, this takes me back to like the start of FIFA 22. I blocked it out a little bit because I was just so pissed at the time. Like, bro,
Yeah.
like people showing, oh look, I'm learning this game, I'm like, bro, I just published a 15-minute video at the end of FIFA 21. That's at the time it had just been published, of the best goals I scored throughout that year, and I just made your FIFA 22 amazing goal look like a piece of shit because I scored that the entire year, not because I'm special. Anyone can do those goals, but you have to commit to try and do those goals. It's
Yep.
nothing new. It's nothing new. You just chose to do the directional year, and you
Yep.
can make a whole fucking psychology study on these people who come out of the word works the first 2 weeks of FIFA every year and just they take out their anger on anyone they see online. Like they were taking the anger on me. Oh, you're just mad. You're mad. You can't directional nutmeg. You're mad. You
Exactly.
can't cancel skill. I was like, bro, I've never done a directional nutmeg on purpose in my fucking life. I don't do cancel skills. In FIFA 19, I wasn't doing alternados. I wasn't in FIFA 19. The croqueta was so broken that I refused to use it. And I'm not saying that I deserve a peace prize for it. I'm just saying don't put that don't act like I was doing it. Don't
Yeah.
tell me I'm just mad. Like I get it. You're upset because you got shit on for a year
But
because you couldn't defend, but like that
like
wasn't me you were playing.
you hit the nail on the head there, but like the problem is, right? I don't mind if people enjoy FIFA 22. Like I'm happy for people that enjoy FIFA 22. Well, great. You have a great year of gaming in front of you, right? But the problem I have here is why are people so triggered when you tell them I don't enjoy this game? Like they'll protect this like it's their own baby. Like they created this game and they'll be like they'll literally attack you like on your like on
Yeah.
everything. Like I'm just sitting there like brother, why is this so important to you? Like why can't you just enjoy what you want or enjoy what you want to enjoy, but like you need someone's reassurance to tell you that like they enjoy this game too. And the funny thing is it's the same people that were saying like we enjoy this game at the start and we were screaming like this is the best FIFA in years that are the first to complain that it's not as good as they thought it was, or and that's because of the patches or whatever. Like it's just so exhausting. Like just play the game you want to play. Like it's not, I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying the game is not for me. Like
Yeah,
it's weird. It's so
that
weird.
that's another phase that I remember we go at this point we're going through every year. It's like you see these people and you have to ask yourself, do they have stock in EA? Did they create
Yeah,
did they
really.
create FIFA 22? Are they hidden developers on social media? Does EA have 5,000 developers? Because that'd be weird. There's no way. These people who have no stake in this video game, and for some reason someone not liking it, they take it personally, and it's just very strange, man. And you see these people come out the woodworks. Obviously we're emphasizing it a lot. I think they're not as many as we make it out to be, but they just stick out because they're such
It's
odd
a vocal minority.
people. Yeah, it's such odd behavior that it sticks out. I mean, even today, some guy like they're so touchy. I mean, they'll get mad at you. They'll just get mad at you for whatever. I mean, I literally told someone because we were discussing today, and we'll get more on this later because before we get into this, I wanted to talk about something else, but we were discussing why the game hasn't actually changed, and basically I just sent him the gif of SpongeBob going like imagination when he's referring to the fact that the game has more drop back now than it did at the start. And people like this, they just get offended and they unfollow you. Like, yeah, I used to follow you, but you offended me now, and it's like you're disrespectful. Like, bro, I just sent you a gif, man. Like what are we talking about? But before we get into the game changing because of patches stuff, one more thing that I do like, and I feel like it's an interesting topic, is second man press. I like it and I hate it at the same time, and me and you have talked about it, but basically, I like that they worked on it because the game needed to have it. I don't like that second man press is shit, and it's basically second man rest.
It's pointless.
Yeah, it's not nowhere near as good as people make it out to be, which is the problem, a big problem. And it makes no sense for it to work because if you weren't aware, if you press R1 or RB on your controller, a secondary teammate controlled by the AI, but you're telling them to go, will start running towards the ball holder. Well, he's supposed to, but he doesn't always do that. And how fast he does it and how well he does it is dependent on their defensive awareness. And you might think, oh yeah, that's smart, it makes sense. No, it does not make fucking sense, and I'll tell you why. Because the attack is the first line of defense. If you look at Prime Barcelona 2010, Guardiola had them front three pressing after possession loss like maniacs. Okay? If you look at Italy in the Euro, you cannot tell me Immobile wasn't running with his dear life to press defenders, but he has 30 defensive awareness or whatever it is in FIFA, so he can't do that.
I'd honestly turn it around and say the press that happens is mostly midfielders and attackers. Like, defenders don't necessarily press. Defenders hold their line, and defenders have the play come towards them. Like, the only like pressing style they do as a defender is like hold the back line and bring the back line up, right? Like, that's what you do when you're an attacking team. So like the fact that you need defensive awareness to press makes no sense at all. The gegenpress that happens, or the press that happens, is the front line, the midfielders. They have to go forward and they have to press the ball. So like it just makes no sense at all.
And the fact that they made it that way and people are, first of all, allowing it, and second of all, saying it needs a nerf, it blows my mind. And the only case, like center backs, I see them in real life, pressing ball holders is when eventually, for specialists, maybe a specialist receives the ball and like a center back has the instruction every now and then, run out. But someone will cover him, but it's very situational
when
things.
You're around the box, maybe, like when you're playing very deep or something like that.
Yeah, sometimes, but very situational things. In general, even especially in FIFA, the less you want to use it less, the closer people get to your box, because you want to sort of start doing other things at that point. You can use it in different ways to cover space, but not necessarily to press. And you're supposed to be using it to press aggressively further up the field. And so with this, what blew my mind is that we, on social media and just talking back and forth the community, you see a minority of people who are actually asking for second man press to be nerfed. And it just drives me insane, because these are the same people who say, oh man, I wish we could press without having to turn on constant press. And I'm just like, huh? You just said you wanted to nerf second man press, so what the fuck do you want, Chief?
Yep.
It just, it just drives me insane. And I need what I need from EA is to make this feature like actually make sense, because in its state, you've just
it's inconsistent too. It's very inconsistent in how it works, what player is selected when you want to press, how they press, like everything about it is inconsistent. I don't even see people complaining about it anymore on the timeline, to be honest. It was mostly at the start of the game that people were complaining about it. Do you still see them?
I don't. I think people gave up. I made a video at the start of the year.
I don't see that many people using it either, to be honest. Like, it's like when people are very desperate to get the ball off you, they'll do it. But like, I don't have any trouble. Like I don't go into like elite division games struggling like thinking like, oh, this guy doesn't defend for himself or anything. Like I barely notice it. Like
Yeah. That also kills me. It's like you need it. You need it. You can't be complaining, oh, you can't have the AI press for your defender. It doesn't. You're doing a double team. That's more than constant press ever does for you manually. And at the very least, I expect that anyone who doesn't want second man press to also say no constant press, no team press, no press after possession loss, and at least you're consistent. Sure, you're then playing into a game where it's just about holding the ball forever, and that'd be
yep.
boring. But at least you have some consistency in your line of thinking. But if you're one of those who was fine with the game last year, but this year has a problem with second man press, then you're out of your mind, because constant press, anybody, like, how the fuck is that still in the game?
Yep. Ah, it's the same people, like you said. It's the same people that saying second man press is too strong. The same people every time you take a kickoff turn on team press. Like it's like how can you be so, like you said, inconsistent in your criticism, and how can you think that's okay even though that is 10 times as overpowered as, or 100 times as overpowered as second man press. I don't even think second man press like works properly, so it's not even powered, let alone overpowered.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's weird. It's
It
weird.
barely does anything. The main gripe these people say is that the AI should never tackle for you, and it's like, bro, at that point, if he's tackling for you in the state that second man press is in, I mean, you
I,
must have like been sleeping while you're dribbling.
That's what I'm saying. Like basically have to walk into a player, because most of the time when I'm pressing second man press, they'll walk towards you and then back off after a while. They'll literally back off the ball holder. So I don't know what they're doing, but I don't know, man. It's
I have
weird.
clips of using it, and my guy second man pressing runs away, like
That's what I'm
further
saying.
away.
Like they literally just go towards them and then
Yeah,
move away. Yeah, it's weird.
right.
It's weird.
But basically, back to the, I guess, the main thing that has taken Twitter by storm today. Well, not really, but so there were tweets by two very big creators in the scene that have been creators for a while. So I'm talking about Nepenthes and Nick, and not to single them out or anything,
Nick
but just
28T for
yeah,
just to
Nick
be
2018.
yeah.
And it's not nothing personal. It's not them specifically. It's just what they said, right? And it just comes with the territory, because when you have millions of casual FIFA players follow you, what kills me is that this which I deem to be misinformation, I think makes it a lot worse, because you're pretty much giving alibis to all these people that are gobbling it up and just taking it because they feel they should trust you, because I mean you are an expert at the game, so they should. But at the same time, like, I wish this was never tweeted, because pretty much they started complaining about the game, and rightfully so. I have no problem with complaining, and how they've not been enjoying it recently compared to the start, and like blaming the servers, which is completely fair. I think both you and I would agree that the past couple of weeks the servers have been beyond abysmal. Not that FIFA servers are ever great, but we've gotten levels that have
I
taken
mean,
us back to 2016.
I'm gonna say, to make clear, like from day one my gameplay has been absolutely awful, so I can't even notice a difference between good or bad gameplay in that sense. Like it's just been terrible throughout. I've seen people tweet that the gameplay for them is great. Well, great for them, but like my gameplay has been terrible throughout, like day one.
Yeah.
So like I am, but like I think you even know, like my gameplay is like, I don't know what's happened this year, but like the gameplay has just been awful like throughout.
Right.
So you haven't had that experience either, I think. Like not to my extent anyway. So like
No,
I
the
don't know.
last month has been dog shit, but I had a initial
Yeah.
period of maybe like a couple of weeks of really decent enough connection, and even throughout that, I was still calling this game not good enough. So it's not even about
Yeah.
connection for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
I understand their frustration with connection if they've now like started to experience what everyone else has. Yeah, it's shit. It's awful. But the problem starts when they start saying that, and then period, and then on to the next thing, they start saying ever since these newest patches, we've had like 3 or 4 now, drop back is so good, and the throughable meta is back with a vengeance. This is where I lose all hope, man. I lose all hope, and I have to, because guys, you know, people call me the bad guy for calling the game shit, but am I the bad guy for saying what I think and then backing it up with clips, and then you may agree or disagree? Or is the bad guy the guy who says the game is shit for this reason. There's no patch that really says that what I'm saying happened, but yeah, this is what happened because of this patch. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing is, right? I'm gonna. I just thought about this. Previous years, at the start of every year, pretty much when I already lose hope in the game because I've played it for 2 days and I've realized this game's ass. Um, at the start of every year, I tweet something in the lines of, because every year it's the same, right? People are positive about the game and they're like, "Oh, finally a different football game. We can like 1 year we can finally use skill moves, and 1 year it's we can finally play football." And like they all like make their own narrative as to how like the game should be played or whatever. But at the start of every year, I'm like, "Okay, guys, this is the honeymoon phase. Wait till the first weekend league, and then we'll see, right?" And it always takes like a week or two, and then people turn around and they're like, "Oh, this game's ass." But my theory this year is because weekend league is as easy as it is right now for a lot of the players, and the rewards come easy. I feel like the frustration took a while to build up, right? And the meta also took a while to build up because you didn't necessarily need to play the meta maybe the first week, right? In elite division and the higher elite division, it happened. So like we experienced that and we knew this was gonna trickle down. And I think even that was tweeted. That it's gonna trickle down to the lower divisions and people are gonna realize, okay, this game is like when people kept saying like this FIFA finally you can play real football. No, it's not real football. It's the same thing over and over again. There is a meta and people are gonna spam it, right? And I feel like these people that have done like pretty good the first week, where there's a lot of casual players, right, that will normally maybe get like gold 3 in the previous format. They got rank 1 in this format and they were happy and everything was fine. And now they're struggling more because well, obviously people are doing the broken stuff more and they look for the faults in oh, now they're playing drop back even though they were always doing that. Like it was always happening. It just they weren't efficient enough in it, and the meta hadn't caught up to them, and now they're losing games, and now they're getting frustrated. And like you said before, server problems aside, because the gameplay is obviously trash and the servers are trash, but that's always been the case in FIFA. But I feel like it took more this year for the meta to catch up specifically because of the reason that rewards were good. You see people quitting in weekend league, you see people quitting 30 games or getting their 8 wins and gifting wins. So it's been more casual this year until like now you see more people like sweat it out. I get less wins in weekend league, people quit at 0-0, like more and more frustration in the fucking game. Like what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. There's always going to be a multitude of factors. This year, for us, it's been super easy. We just like getting rank 1, which in theory is like elite 1 of last year. Is
Yeah.
it's just a process. You just do it, get it. There's no question of if and
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it on 2 accounts weekly. One with a full Italian RTG, and one with the main account. And I mean, with the main account, I was doing with a mega team. Then I sold the mega team because of the market crash. Ahead of the market crash, and I was doing it with like 81 rated Lucas Moura when you can buy him for 700 coins. 16 wins easy, 16 and 1, 16 and 0, 16 and 2. So, like it's just easy, and I'm not complaining. I love it. Keep it, yeah, great, phenomenal. The problem is, like you said, these guys got a taste of the best ranks, and the moment they're not getting them anymore, it's like I literally had someone say, yeah, well, I have proof because this weekend was harder for me and all my friends, so I'm not the only one. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, just because it was harder doesn't mean there was a secret patch that buffed drop back. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden through balls are good again. It just means that maybe there is dog shit servers more than usual. Like, I don't know, or a combination with people doing more corner glitches and stuff like
Yep.
that. You're getting free less goals. Like, either way, these people, they this agenda, it's like it's all to avoid, like you said earlier, the fact of saying, damn, maybe I was wrong about this game. No, it's never them being wrong about the game. It's always there was a soft patch, secret patch, the patch ruined the game. And this is my problem. If you can prove to me something that happened and started happening only after the patches, and by all means, but the problem is when you tell me, oh, after the patch dropback is more OP, I didn't experience it before, that's great. But when I made my video, Here's old a new gen gameplay. Here's the drop back in new gen gameplay. Look at the minimap. Look at the 15 men in the box. Okay, and this is why I'm leaving new gen and I'm playing on old gen because there's less of that. And you told me I was insane. I was just shit and this and that. No, you're wrong, bro. Because just because it wasn't happening to you doesn't mean it wasn't an issue, right? It's like people live in their own little bubble. So at the time in September, I was the first to say it. Yep, too much drop back in new gen. I'm going to old gen. There's less drop back. Everyone, not everyone, but more than usual, a lot of people were like, terrible take, trash take, blah blah blah. There's been no patches that said we have buffed drop back. We have done this, we have done that. But drop back now is OP? No, bro. It's just people have adapted. Like they've changed their tactics. They've adjusted.
People really underestimate that other people like everyone looks at it from their own perspective, right? And everyone always looks at like what's happened with me, why am I not performing well? But people don't realize that other people play the game too, they practice too, they look up tutorials too. So like they see all these things and they don't sit still, right? And people like human beings have a tendency to look at everything like they're the main character, right? So
Yeah.
like whenever something happens, you're thinking like whether there's a variable that changed what I do, or maybe I'm playing worse, or maybe the servers. Like you always look for reasons like that instead of just looking around as well. That like when I look on Reddit, like people like I see a lot of people that like struggle and they're like, what's happening? Maybe I'm worse. Like I don't know, but like you don't realize that other people improve as well. Like it's not just you, you know? Like you're not alone in the world. And I don't know. It's like weird. This whole agenda of like patches destroying the game and whatever, like just as time goes by, it's the same thing in every FIFA, man. I don't understand why it's so hard for this community to learn that it's literally the same story every single year. I could make a collage of tweets from FIFA 18 forward where every single year the same thing has happened, and every single year people blame it on patches too. It's so weird.
People don't read the patch. They don't. The patch comes out. They don't read it. They think there's some sort of like mind reader, game tester, and they'll go in and they'll make up what changed. Yeah, passing feels a little bit different.
Yeah.
Literally not touched. I'm
Yep.
gonna drop a stallion analogy. Like this mindset of, oh, I haven't experienced it yet, therefore it's not true, or I have experienced it, therefore it's true. Like just total, just everything is revolved around you. It's like I remember the other day there was a tweet by Nick Merckx, huge just content creator, and he just tweeted about how he had to clean up his garden because there were a lot of toads that were poisonous to his dogs, right? The
Hmm.
equivalent of what people do is if I went like, this is bullshit. There's no frogs. I walk my dog every day and I never see these toads. And I live in dead smack the center of Rome and he lives in Florida. Right? This was
Yep.
this was what those fuckers sounded like in September when they told me there's no drop back in next gen FIFA. You're just shit. And I'm just like,
That's spot on.
I was just like, what the fuck? Like there is, and you're gonna be seeing it very soon. And here we are in November, and they're all saying, yeah, drop back's OP now. The through balls, the lob through balls, like all the same
Dude,
shit
you
through
know,
balls.
you know the funny thing is, I was at the start of the game, right? I was reading Reddit and I was seeing people there in that were at the time, I think in like Div 5 or Div 4, Div 6, I don't even know. They were in those lower like mid-tier divisions, right? And they were saying, "This FIFA is great, man. It's finally real football. I can finally use Harry Kane, and Harry Kane is gonna be usable this year." And Haaland, like, where are these people now, man? Like, I haven't seen them around anymore. I don't see anyone using Harry Kane against me. I don't see. There were literally people saying Haaland is gonna be the best striker. They're finally usable now. Who's using him, man? Who? Like it's so weird that like these people make these things up and they're playing in their like non-meta divisions or whatever, which is great, like great for you, but like don't act like this is going to be like how this game is going to work out, you know? Like it's not that simple and it's way too early to say anything. It's so strange to me, man. It's
You know
so
where
strange.
Haaland is now, bro? I'll tell you where he is, bro.
Where
He
is he?
plays he plays left center mid for all the pros now.
Oh
So
yeah, left center
everyone
mid.
remember all the guys, this is the most realistic game to date. Yeah, bro. The top
Yeah.
meta players are using Haaland at center mid. GG's, bro. The same, like, you guys cried about Suarez being a center mid in FIFA 17. Where's the complaints now? Haaland is a center mid. Your
You
boy
can't
Haaland.
you can't use a fullback at center back, but you can use Haaland at center mid, and you can use Neymar at striker. Like that's not an issue, man. It's
Yeah,
not an issue.
fucking bullshit, bro. Oh man, and the that's what kills me as well. The realism Andes, and I understand the excitement, right? Day one of FIFA, it's a fresh new FIFA, and good job for 10 games. You managed to use Harry Kane and not get shit on completely. But the difference between those rushed comments and then the comments that we come up with at the start, where we say, "Look, man, if this is what it feels like now at the start, we're in trouble later," is the difference is that one is based off of, you don't know exactly what's coming, but it's not a good sign, versus just a moment of like temporary euphoria. And so like when we see at the start of the game that second man press is not working properly, and that constant press is still overpowered, and that drop back is still insane, you can already imagine a game where 4-4-2 is going to be the meta. Patient 4-4-2 players are going to be the bane of your existence, and if you're 1-0 down to them, you're going to want to just rage quit the game. Like, it's because you can't press them, you can't break them down because they're parking that bus, and they're going to score on you with some cheesy ass glitch that's going to come soon. So it's like you can see those things coming, but you have nothing to prove that Harry Kane is going to be usable for more than 10 days. Like, you just don't. But they're quick to rush on those decisions, and then they hide. And then we'll do it all over
Yep.
again for FIFA 23. All right, and to wrap this one up, and just for a heads up, there's a lot of like nuances and things that we want to talk about, but we'll spread them out over multiple episodes. So we're just gonna cover another topic for now. And a big thing this year in FIFA 22 has been the market, and just how much of a shit show it is. And the prices are pretty much on the floor. It's really weird time. There's a lot of areas where you don't know where to spend. Either you're going to spend 40k on a meta gold, or you're going to need 5 million coins for a pellet. Like, there's nothing really in between, right?
Oh. The problem I think is as well, like this year, I feel like they do promo packs every single day. Like I feel like they just gone like full out like sellout mode, and they're just trying to sell as much as they can, and they don't care anymore. But first things first, I love it that like foot champs rewards are like more accessible, and rewards are better, and like it's easier to get, which is a great thing. Um, this is kind of a side note. Also, the downside to that is like the whole playoffs thing, and I can see a lot of people, like I was reading Reddit yesterday, a lot of people were basically saying like now that the playoffs are so difficult for them, they just gave up because they can't keep up anymore, right? You can't just get by with rivals rewards, and the gap becomes so big that they just quit the game. Which I think they should change something in that playoff system. Either just take playoffs out completely, just make foot champs accessible for everyone if they have enough points, or give people three chances at playoffs when they get their 2,000 points, right? Because this is really demotivating for people that can't make it through the playoffs, and they just get turned off and they don't want to play the game anymore. Which in turn probably makes the game way more sweaty as time goes by as well, because the more casual players quit and the sweaty players just stay, which also makes the game more difficult, and people are going to complain more about patches because they think it's the patch that's making the game more difficult for them. But regardless of that, I think a part of like why the prices are obviously so low, because like informs are worth nothing because most people now get them, right? Most
Right.
people get like a team of the week pack. The problem is, like you said, now that rewards are accessible for everyone, at the same time they're worth nothing. Like you have to pack outrageous stuff to be able to make something in a week, and like, well, the good thing is like a relatively normal gold team is accessible to everyone, but at a certain point you get capped and you can't get any further unless you get pack luck or you trade or whatever. But like gameplay, strictly gameplay wise, it's very hard to improve your team other than getting lucky. Like that's pretty much all you can do. Like you just need to hope you pack something, and I feel like they're doing this to sell more FIFA points. Simply put, like there's no other reason for them to have the market this way, and they haven't talked about. They never talk about the market, I think, but like the way it is now, like the only way you get to the Eusebios and like the Peles and whatever is if you get extremely lucky or if you're really good at trading. Because the coin values, like everything has been nerfed basically. Like, well, look at it this way: like Elite One last year was how many coins?
125.
125,000. Yeah, 125,000. You got 200k packs, and the equivalent of this year's Elite One is rank one is 16 wins. You get two Team of the Week packs, an Ultimate pack, and like 100k, I think, something like
105, yeah.
100k. Yeah. So basically, they took 200 or 100k pack away from it, and they took like 20k coins. And I think in Rivals they did the same thing. They lowered the coins, they lowered the packs, if I'm not mistaken. So like everything across the board has been nerfed, but at the same time rewards are worth less as well. So like if you pack like high rated golds now, unless it's Ronaldo, Mbappe, Neymar, like they're not going to be worth a lot,
Right, but
which is a
you do get it's a lot less wins to get to Elite 1 relative to to last
yeah,
year.
but like that's the system they wanted. Like it's not our fault. Like if they wanted the system, it doesn't mean that you need to like nerf rewards at that point, you know?
Right.
Because it's still the rank is still an achievement at that point. It's still rank one, so rank one is the highest rank, so it needs to like represent something, right?
Right.
But it's strange. Like it's very hard to like get like I'm at the point like I've been very lucky this year, and I'm still at the point that I'm kind of stuck. I just need to wait to get lucky because I can't be asked. Like I know how to trade, but I just can't be asked to put that kind of time in either. Like I'm just bored of it.
Here's the problem I have as well. You have two options, right? You either play the way we do, whereas we're smart. We try to be smart with our coins,
Yeah.
and of course that means that you're gonna have to make choices. There's gonna be dead periods. You're gonna have to sell when you have to, even when you don't want to, and you're not gonna be able to play the game the way it's designed or the way they want you to play. As in, every time there's a promo, you try a card, because if you
Yep.
do that, you're gonna probably regress. Not even stay at the same point. You're just always losing coins. So new
Mm-hmm.
cards come out, but you can't use them because you buy them, they lose value. You resell them, you got less coins, and even if you get rank one, at best you're just cushioning a loss, right? So
Yeah.
that's the problem. It's just really, really bad system. Like I'm seeing all these orange cards on my screen. I'm like, great, I'm not trying any of these. Moving on. So the whole time you're just struggling to get to a point late in the year where you can finally buy someone, and by then it's just like they don't even feel as good as they could because guess what? You got them at the same time as everyone else.
Yep.
So yeah,
No, that's very well put. I forgot about that totally. Like the problem is like we have the luxury of being able to play with like 100k team and still get rank one, right? Other people might have to use all their resources, get the absolute best team they can, and then get whatever like highest rank they can, right? The thing for us is we made so many coins by just selling our teams and just playing with like an average to like a bad team or an average team and still getting our rewards, and at the same time every single week the market went so like went so much lower that we literally made millions by just
millions.
not having a team, which is a ridiculous thing at the start of FIFA. It's not the end of FIFA, it's the start of FIFA. And we made millions just by not using a team, which is an absurd thought. Like I don't know like what they're thinking, but like every single week the players just drop more and more and more and more and more. And like at the end of it, I all of a sudden I could buy like top tier icons. Like it's so strange. It's so strange.
So I have a question for you. Say I'm an EA employee, right? And I'm
Hmm.
like head of market, whatever. I decide what SBCs get released, what preview packs get released, all that stuff in order to regulate the market and stuff like that. What would you say to me if I then said to you, but I thought you guys wanted to have players be cheaper and more accessible. Now we've done that and you're still complaining.
There's two different things there. Like I'm not saying players are more cheap and accessible. You're making the lower end golds more accessible.
Yeah.
Everything that's like high tier meta is inaccessible. Like you can literally not get you won't be able to get like Eusebio, Cruyff, like even if you're the best player, like you're the best player gameplay wise, like you will not be able to get just strictly off rewards unless you get extremely lucky, by the way. You won't be able to get like the Eusebios and the Cruyffs and the Peles. Uh, uh,
As
at
usual.
least like until the end of the game. Like the end of the game, they make them all accessible for everyone, pretty much. But yeah, you won't be able to play your way to something. You'll always have to put FIFA points on. Like I said, unless you're like the 0.1% that's just extremely lucky. Like
Right.
so
Or
that's the
trading,
problem.
but
So you're not making anything accessible. You're making the lower end golds that are like there's a promo every single week. So there's new special cards every single week. The golds are pretty much getting outdated as we speak. Like the only golds that are really good now are like who Kimpembe, Marquinhos, Neymar, Messi,
Hakimi.
Ronaldo. Ronaldo is not even good anymore. Like it's just if we're talking meta, right?
Right.
And it's just Mbappe, and that's pretty much it. And then you're pretty much done, and maybe like a Lorente or something like that. Other than that, there's already like special cards that have pretty much outdone their counterparts, right?
Yeah. I
And
mean,
as the weeks go by, it just gets worse and worse. So I don't know.
it's funny because you said unless you're a really good trader. I mean, I don't know how much that's going for because I don't trade at all. When I trade, I lose money, and I'm seeing like I'm seeing like traders on Twitter panic. I've never seen them lose as many coins as they have this year, and it's like it's not funny, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, what was that tweet? There was someone tweeted something. I can't remember the tweet anymore. I we talked about this before the episode. Um, the
Which
guy that was
tweet?
talking about gameplay, like he said something about
Oh, like that we when we see you mean the ones that was like I can't put my finger on it, but even though the gameplay is the best in years, I still don't want to touch it.
yeah.
Yeah,
That. Like that is the nail. Like that's the funniest thing because that guy's a trader too, right?
yeah.
And it's funny to me that like if gameplay really was as good to you as you say it is, why like the market like nothing I could care about nothing. If gameplay really was good to me, you think I cared when I played FIFA 17 that I really enjoyed back then, even though that game had tons of flaws too? Do you think I cared about the market? I was just playing the game, man. I played like 2,000 games in that game. I don't care about the market at that point, man. If I'm enjoying the game for what it is, I don't care what's going on. Sure, like would it be better if the market was in a better state? Sure, but like if gameplay is good, man, I'm happy, man. I'm happy.
It's the same with the people saying, we've got the best game in years, but there's no modes to play. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What? Bro,
There's
I
plenty of
played,
modes to play, man.
brother, remember when we played the old FIFAs and all we had was divisions?
Yep.
Oh, baby, man. People have no idea. And that's why it's a common theme. We've said this before and we'll say it again. Like, how many times do we go into conversation and like, yeah, my first FIFA is FIFA 19. I'm like, brother, you don't know the struggle, man. Like, you
Yep.
want content? Man, like go on FIFA 10. What content you getting on FIFA 10? You got the game. That's the content you're gonna have to play and enjoy. And this is a problem. Like I feel like a lot of people that we speak to, I think we don't resonate with them as well because they have never enjoyed a game of FIFA when it was all about the game. In fact, it might be like 30% gameplay and then most of it is like, okay, let's make my team or something and look at it or something like that. Which is I don't mind. Like if you like that, you like that. But like at that point, understand what the difference and that we're coming from different perspectives at that point.
I agree.
All right. Well, I guess on that note, we will call it there, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to comment, review the podcast, drop a thumbs up, give us any questions, any topics we want to discuss for the future ones. Because the more topics you give us, the more likely we are to record sooner and not take 6 months, right? Because we're overloaded with thoughts and we always struggle to format it, and I'm gonna blame it on that as to why why we took ages. Anything to add?
Nah, man.
All right, man. Until next time. Peace.
Deuces.